Hi, and welcome to the One Life Church devotional series. If you're joining us for the very first time today and you decide to read 2 chapters a day for the next 20 months, you will cover the entire Bible. Well, today we're in chapter 6 and 7 of Exodus. And if I had to give this chapter a title, chapter 6, it would be the great but chapter. God says, I want you to do this for me. Moses says, but how are they going to listen to me? The people didn't even listen to me. How's Pharaoh going to listen to me? I want you to do this for me. But I've got faltering lips. And we like that often, aren't we? Where God gives us an assignment, where God gets hold of us. But there's 101 reasons why I shouldn't do it. In addition to being the but chapter, God says to them, I saw your father Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. I appeared to them like I've appeared to you. I made covenant promises to them like I've made covenant promises to you. And I hear their cry, and I want them free. I want them free from the yoke of slavery. Now, I'm standing in my garden here, and I have this old ox's yoke. You know, they used to put oxen in here, and they would span an oxen onto this yoke. And chapter 6, verse 6 says, I want to free you from the yoke of slavery. And so an oxen would have been spanned into a thing like this. I suppose the head here and the head this side, and they would have to pull a heavy load. They'd live with this thing upon them. And God says, this is your stay in Egypt is like this. Your sin is like this. And he says, I want to rid that of you. Let me read that chapter for you. And we'll see how God does that in your life and mine. Therefore the Lord said to Israelites, I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from under the yoke of the Egyptians. I will free you. And then this is, he says, from being slaves to them. And I will redeem you with an outstretched arm, with my mighty acts of judgment. So God says, the word redeem is to buy back. So you've been sold into slavery. We live a life in sin, in slavery. We've like sold ourselves into slavery. How do we do that? You say, well, with every act of disobedience, with every sin, we've got ourselves deeper into the quagmire. And God says, I am going to buy you back. This is how I'm going to get you out of slavery. I'm going to buy you. I'm going to redeem you. And I'm going to use my outstretched arm to do mighty acts of deliverance. Now, of course, this is pointing to Jesus buying us with his blood. And his mighty outstretched hand is his acts of power in the resurrection of his Son and completing that act of redemption. And so just like God's promise was over the Israelites, I'm going to get you out of your bondage. I'm going to get you out of your slavery. No longer will a yoke shackle you. God's intent is that we are free, 100% free. The other thing is that even as Christians, where we are set free and we have a future in God eternally, it's possible that we slide in under that yoke again. It's not God's heart for you to be enslaved. And what he wants you to do is he wants to revisit that redemption that's over your life. Confess your sin and say, God, I know that you freed me from this. And so to remove the shackles that sin and bondage have on your life. Well, Exodus chapter 7 moves on at quite a fast pace. And Moses, very reluctantly, 80 years old, his brother Aaron, 83, Moses had said, listen, I'm not talking. So God said, okay, well, I'm going to use you anyway in your reluctance. I'll get your older brother, 3 years older than him, Aaron, to talk on your behalf. And they go to Pharaoh, and they chuck a stick down, and it becomes a snake. And then later they touch the water in Egypt, and all the water becomes absolutely undrinkable, becomes red like blood, like a stench. And God's busy saying, listen, I will go to great lengths to set you free. I believe God's saying to you and to me today that his intent is that You live free. He's paid a price for you. He says, I've redeemed you. This yoke is not your address. You're called to be free and to worship him with everything that's inside of you.